Good evening. I would like to call this regular meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board to order at 7:02. Please, if you could silence your cell phones at this time, please. And we will rise now for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Altamont Elementary.
If I could have our wonderful Altamont students join us here at the podium to lead us in the pledge. Isaac, you want to do the honors on the microphone there, buddy?
Can you hold this? Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Altamont Elementary. And if I understand, we have a presentation from Altamont at this time?
That is correct. So it is my pleasure to do a mini presentation showcasing our music program. So once again, good evening, members of the board, student representative. I wish I had a name tag to refer to. Samantha. Student trustee Samantha, trustee Goodrich, trustee Clements, trustee Lampel, President Pombo, Superintendent Nicholas, and always have to recognize my ladies over here, Ms. Kaiser and Mrs. Balzerini. Thank you so much. So once again, as I said, it is my absolute pleasure to take a little bit of time to showcase our music program and what we have developing here at Altamont. We're making some exciting developments and changes to the way we approach music. And so I'm going to turn it over at this point to our wonderful music teacher, Mrs. Mary Saunders, to introduce some of the slides and talk a little bit about what we have implemented in our music program and how we're evolving and changing in a progressive direction.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having us this evening. I sure appreciate that. What I want to talk to you about to get started for everybody is K through 4 is, of course, where we're going to start. And with K through 4, what we're doing is our goal is to have instruments for each grade level. So we have started already with rhythm instruments with the kindergarten. We just recently, as the picture shows up there, bought glockenspiels for all the first graders. And then second will get its own set of instruments. Third has ukulele, fourth recorder. And then, of course, as you all know, fifth has the band and choir. And then we go to advanced band and choir. Now, the reason for doing this is because the kids are learning the music symbols and notes. And in order for them to be able to read notes, I think that there should be a practical application for that. So as they know what C, D, E, F, and G are and that's such, they can now play on these instruments. So our first graders, as you see in the picture, they're already starting to play those. And today we already went through Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And we'll be adding more so that by the next concert, they'll have several songs to play. So as we grow and develop, we want these kids to have a very good base in theory as well as in playing instruments so that as the little ones get to a higher level, by that time there's no question as to what the notes are and how to play them. If they only learn theory but don't have the practical application with instruments, then they don't make the connection. This way it's hands-on, it's reading, it's looking. So we have that. Now with our advanced band, which brings us to that, when we get up to that level, now your kids already know how to play, right? Because they already know the notes. So because they can then progress a little faster and they have a little more confidence, because as you know, music builds confidence, now the kids can kind of take a little bit over. Now, like I always say, that doesn't mean I leave the room or I don't do my job, because I'm doing my job. And I'll do the conducting and I'll get them started and going and make sure everybody's right. But as you can tell in the picture, a lot of times we'll have student leaders. And I like to do that both in sectionals as well as when the band is all fully together, because that way they have to know what they're doing in order to present to the kids and to be able to, run it a little bit. In concerts, you'll see my students conduct, because again, it's going to build their confidence. When they move on to high school band, when they move on, if they continue in college like I did, you have to audition when you go in for a music degree. You just don't stand there and get in. This way, they will have that knowledge and be able to read a full score, be able to conduct, and know what all those things mean on a score. So if they start little, when they get there, then we have the leadership. They can do it all. So that's our goal, is to have a very well-rounded. With our choir, we're doing the same thing, kind of, because they're singing, but I don't want just a choir that just stands there like this, right? Because that puts us to sleep sometimes. So not that that's not beautiful, because it is, but at the same time, we kind of do a little show choir where we'll have you doing that tonight, actually. You can help us out. So we do a little clapping, a little moving, as well as they do their vocal exercises, they do their songs, and as you can see in the picture, one of our young people here, which is behind me, Miss Bryce. Miss Bryce also helps to lead. So is there anything you would like to say, Miss Bryce, on your leading? Go ahead, you can do it.
Good evening. A lot of, in choir, I'm not the only one who leads. A lot of my fellow students get chances to lead, and we're all really connected, and it's really an enjoyable experience getting to perform and sing and do things that we enjoy doing like this in school.
Now, one of our newest elements for this year is our Hula Tahitian Club. So, and maybe some of you have been to shows where I always come out and go, aloha, right? And then we go ahead and we do the Hula Tahitian. What I'm trying to do with the students there is, again, like these lovely ones here. And this is our drummer, by the way. We never want to forget the drummer. So he plays a very important part. He keeps a rhythm for the dancers. So again, that's part of the theory. And they're kind of learning just by having fun. But with the hula, I not only just want to have them dance hula steps, I also want them to know the tradition of the Hawaiian culture and the people of Hawaii. So when they are dancing, they also understand the songs. They understand the pa'u skirt, so it's not the little skimpy outfits. No skimpy outfits here. We want the traditional respect for the culture. And that's what these kids are learning, along with the movements that mean different things. Okay. Is there anything you guys want to say? No? No? Drummer, would you like to give them a beat at least? You can clap with us if you'd like. And our kids this year are going to be going to the May Day Festival, which is their first time going. It's in Pleasanton. It's the Aloha Festival for May Day. It's on Mother's Day, so you can all come if you'd like to come see us. It's right on Sunday the 14th, and it's at 3:30 in the afternoon. And all our lovely children will be there performing and experiencing even more of that culture of Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary, and students. Just a few more moments here. So I really want to thank our wonderful students and Miss Mary. I wanted everybody to get a glimpse of the creativity and the 21st century learning that's being applied to our music program. As you heard Miss Mary talk, the application of the skill beyond just the theory is very important as we move forward into the 21st century. And certainly putting students at the center of the learning and giving them opportunities to lead instruction is also a very important component of 21st century learning. So we're excited about the alignment with our music and the rest of our instruction that we see school-wide and the creativity that's involved. I just want to say one thing before we close to highlight some of the dedication that we have in our program. The skirts that you see on these girls and in the pictures were hand-sewn by Miss Mary, who stayed up many late evenings getting the uniforms and the outfits complete for our first performance. So that just shows you the level of dedication that we're so fortunate to have. So thank you once again, and thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Ann Goodrich,
Here.
Sharon Lampel,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Samantha D. Tiberis.
Here.
Approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
I'll move for approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Presentations. Item 5A, fifth grade band performance.
So I'm going to have Director Sherburne come up and kind of be the hostess of our multiple musical extravaganza.
Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Nicholas, and parents. It is so great to be here tonight and really especially exciting and to share the fifth grade music program with you. I want to start by commending the board in this district and the parents who've given input on the fact that we have a music program that extends all the way down into kindergarten, which is, in my experience, very unusual in this day and age, to make it a priority and provide the commitment of funding that really allows all students to receive the general music curriculum that they are entitled to be receiving, and then further expands that into the fifth grade where all students experience an instrument or choir and have that opportunity to learn, which research has shown time and time again that that is an incredibly valuable thing for their thinking abilities, their brain development overall, not to mention just an enriching life experience, and hopefully develops a love of the arts, a portion of the performing arts. So with that being said, I am very honored to be here and able to have our music directors for the schools, the K-8 schools. We have Susan Heinrich, Shariah Galbraith, Mark Williams, and Mary Saunders here, who are going to have our fifth grade band students perform and our fifth grade choir perform a little bit to entertain you and share a little bit of the journey that has happened over the last couple years to get the band program and the fifth grade program to what it is. There's been a good deal amount of work, and the music teachers in this district are really to be credited for working with us and collaborating well with only a little bit of support and probably just mostly questions from me about, well, how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that? And they come together and they really make it happen. And as you'll get to hear in a little bit, they really have made some beautiful things happen. So I'm going to ask Susan to come on up.
I'd like to thank you for your support of the music program over the past few years, and we'd like to give you just a very, very short synopsis of how we've gotten to this point. In 2014, we had 3 music educators servicing 6 schools. We had general music, choir was a pullout, we pulled students out to teach beginning instruments, and our advanced band was an elective period. And at this point this year, we have 1 music educator servicing the high school. We have 4 music educators servicing our 5 K-8 schools. TK through 4 has weekly general music. We have middle school choir either as a pullout or an elective, depending on the site, 4 days a week. And twice weekly, our 5th graders all attend either beginning band or choir instruction. And we've expanded our middle school advanced band to a 4-day elective offering. So this is what you have supported in the district. And I just wanted to take you back to something that I came across. I wasn't here in 2014, but this was shared with me, the philosophy that a traveling elementary music team would best benefit the students until we could fully staff our district music team, and that we would need specialists to complement the existing staff. And so We now have a brass specialist, a percussion specialist, a woodwind specialist, and a choral specialist working with our fifth graders and then working across the district. And so at this point in 2017, you have accomplished your 2014 goal, which is exciting. Now we're setting more goals. I don't want anyone here to think that we have just plateaued and we're going to stay here. That's not how we think. You've hired innovative teachers who like to brainstorm and come up with new ideas, and we have lots of plans on how to take things to the next level. But this is where we are right now in 2017. We have 2 new teachers. We have the continuity of curriculum now and classroom instruments. We have our 4th graders playing recorder all year. It was amazing this year when the students received their instrument in 5th grade. We didn't have to teach them how to count. We didn't have to teach them how to read the notes. They already knew that. So they were able to pick up an instrument and get excited right away about playing. We've added ukuleles. Would have been nice if I spelled that right. I'm just going to admit it right now before someone corrects me. Sorry, Mary. 2 U's, 2 E's. Typo. Better to admit it now, right? Before it shows up on Facebook. I know how these things work. They're going to say the music teacher didn't know how to spell the instrument. Wow. That had to have happened this afternoon during the whole Google.
Absolutely. There was a hacking, I understand.
Yes. Yes. Someone hacked me and spelled it wrong. Nationwide, and they found my ukulele. Okay. Anyway, we have the keyboards and the hula clubs. And band and choir is required for all 5th grade students, which means that some students who would have never picked music on their own by the end of their 5th grade year are our best students who would never dream of quitting now and who are excited about moving forward in the music program. So we have a lot of new instruments, and we're very thankful to the district for that. I hate to tell you that they've all been checked out. And, you're probably going to continue getting requests, but that's a really good thing. It's a good problem to have. We're excited about that. We do have a lot more percussion equipment. Troy will tell you, not enough yet, but we are working towards our goals. And we are thankful for the support that we have. This year, in 2016 to 2017, all of the students in K4 presented a concert to their families. So all of our music students have had a concert that they prepared for, got on the stage, learned how to perform. Our 5th grade, we had 2 concerts with over 120 students apiece. It was pretty amazing. It was like herding cats, but at the downbeat, it was amazing how much marvelous music they really could make. And our middle schools have made the commitment this year to make sure that we've had 2 good full concerts each year with our advanced groups. We do have middle school band students that have performed with the high school marching band and the winter percussion. We've had middle school, we have a middle school all-district honor band coming up next Friday night. You should have all received invitations to that, so we hope to see you, some of you, at that concert. The students are going to spend 2 days at the high school with high school band students and with all of us as instructors, learning specialized things about their instruments and preparing to give a concert. And we've had middle schoolers participate in the all-county band and choir. And 2 of our groups went to competitions this year and scored quite high. And we want to score even higher next year, of course. But we are happy we've got a good start. So we've aligned our general music curriculum to all the state and national standards. Our 5th grade band students this year completed, by the small group instruction, 75% more curriculum than we achieved last year as a large group. We got 75% farther in what they were able to play. The 5th grade bands were invited to play in the spring concerts with the middle school. You'll hear them in a minute, and you'll see why we invited them to play in our advanced performances. We have a projected retention rate of about 50% of our 5th grade band and choir students moving into those electives in the middle school. And that's a pretty high percentage if you look at districts in the area, but it's not high enough yet. We're going to keep working on that. We are still working. I put a question mark in there. We were working on it today, but our retention to the high school, I don't have those numbers for you yet, but we're hopeful to give you those numbers very soon. And our middle school groups that competed, They competed in competitions, and they were ranked in the top 20% of the nation. So we think that's a pretty good place to start. We'd like to be the top 5%, but 20 is not too bad for a starting point. So thank you very much for the opportunity to bring a presentation to you tonight. What we'd like you to hear is just a slight sampling of what we hear every day.
All right, as our wonderful band students are exiting, we're going to start with one of our young ladies. That's Miss Kendall over there. Kendall, would you like to wave? You can wave, it's okay. And she's very nervous, so just give her a little, support there. And what Kendall's going to do when I'm teaching, I want them, as I told you, to learn how to read notes. So this young lady has studied, and she'll play Fur Elise for you, a brief portion of that.
See, there was nothing to be nervous about.
You did great, Kendall.
All right, for our next part of the program, the kids also learn how to play ukulele. They can accompany themselves now while they're singing. And with this particular song, we're going to attempt both English and Spanish. And are we ready? Yes, you are. All right, second row, you can stand up so we can see you. They're going to help us out. And our ukulele, they'll be sitting. All right, stand by me.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have one student here that I
Oh,
think is.
come. Oh, my goodness, come on. Right down in front, sir. Right here? Yes, you can. There you go. All right. Ready? Watch me. 1, 2, ready, and... When the night has come and the land is dark, la luna es la luz que brilla ante mí. Miedo no tendré, oh, me asustaré. Just as long as you stand by me. And darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand junto a mí. Y aunque las montañas son cielo claro, no voy a preocuparme, porque sé que tú estás junto a mí. No lo haré, oh, I won't shed a tear, porque sé que tú estás junto a mí. And darling, stand by me, oh, stand by me, oh, stand by me, stand by me. When the night has come and the land is dark, y la luna es la luz que brilla ante mí. Miedo no tendré, oh, no me asustaré. Just as long as you stand by me. And darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand junto a mí, junto a mí. Darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand junto a mí, junto a mí. We're going to close with Lean on Me, and we welcome you to clap with us. So when we're clapping, clap along, because that way everybody will be awake, right?
I would clap along, but I know I'll be out of time, so I won't.
Really fast.
So says my son, who's in the high school band. So.
Some of us didn't have a good music education.
Indeed.
Well, come and see us over at Altamont, and we'll help you out. We got it. Right.
President Pombo, I think that our high school children are a little overly harsh on us, by the way.
Could be as well.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend.
Very well, nicely done.
Thank you very much. I'm sure many of you are aware that we have a very successful music program at Mountain House High School, and it's very nice to see we've got a lot of talent to carry that tradition on into the future. Thank you.
Nice job, kids. You were awesome.
I recognize some of these kids filing in.
Your band members?
He's like me, he can't sing.
Can we go stand out there so we're not behind them?
Did you hear my ukulele? Ukuleles were too. How do you bend this?
Heather, can I get the extension cord?
Our extension or Mary?
Can we plug into here? If we can plug in right here, that'd be awesome. Believe it or not, this is not all of us. The amazing thing is these guys are great. We started off in 2014 with only 16 kids in choir. This year we have 31. Great. I'm super proud of what they've done. I'm going to make sure this is not super loud for you guys. Too loud? Still too loud? Alright, so this is going to be easier this way. This is the Mountain House High School Choir. We are actually amazing. They attended the California Music Educators Association Festival in Modesto. That is our benchmarks for our profession here. And they received a superior rating. That is the highest rating you can receive. The comment we always get consistently from the clinicians are, you're really only a 3-year high school, you're really only a 2-year high school. So these guys have just done a really great job. We're going to present one of the pieces that we performed for CMEA, and that piece is coming from the Firefly Darkness. We have 4 soloists being featured. We have Danielle. Raise your hand, Danielle. We have Jordan. We have Cyrus. And we have Richard.
through this land, from end to end. I've come home through the firefly darkness to sing with you again. Sing songs of wonder, sing of life begun, of fireflies and full moons over meadows green. Sing songs of children growing toward the sun, like the wild new lilies of the spring, the spring.
Heard the silence of the prairie and watched the wild grass grow.
Road and river beckon me in voices clear and low. My path will be lit by fireflies, so now, friend, I will go. And in the sweetness of the night, I will sing. Sing songs of wonder, sing of life begun, of fireflies and full moons over meadows green. Sing songs of children growing toward the sun, like the wild new lilies of the spring, the spring, the spring.
Thank you, Mr. Rexall. I didn't know I could get goosebumps from the choir. Excellent job.
I don't want them to leave. That's the best part of the meeting.
Definitely a great way to start the evening.
Absolutely. They're incredible.
Look at how all of our audience is gone.
Nothing better than good music. I just want to point out that
So
Chris
beautiful.
Lynch and Erica Gonzalez are the only people left.
Sing another song.
So, Mr. President, I think it'd be, while we're waiting for people to clear out, it's important to note that Director Sherburne informs me that in her youth, which was not long ago, she was the first clarinetist in her school band. So I think it's important that you take an expert to work with our district music program. So nice job, Mrs. Sherburne.
Yes, fabulous.
Thank you, thank you. I would like to have Richard come on up. He has a message he would like to share with you all.
Do I need to stand at the mic, or can I just talk to you? Well, first of all, thank you so much for letting us all...
In the mic.
Oh, in the mic. Okay. Didn't quite catch that. Here we go. First of all, thank you so much for letting us come and sing for you today. We really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed that there's AC in here because there wasn't in the hall. But on Friday the 19th, we have our musical concert at the high school. It involves our band program, our choir program, and our orchestra. And we'd love it if you could all come out and support us and see what we prepared. So thanks again for allowing us to come here this evening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Richard.
Okay, why don't I have that in here?
And if I can share one musical story, if that's all right, if with the board's permission. All right, so I grew up in a small town that has more cows than people. And there was a very special music director. Her name was Pat Coslett. She's passed away since. But she made a deal in 1972 with the senior boys that if they would come out for choir, that she would do something special for them. And in 1972, that started a tradition all the way through my brother's senior year of high school in 1989 of the athletes in the school, in particular football players, being a part of the choir and musical program. And that means big, huge events, 3-night shows, filling up the gym. So I wanted to compliment Mr. Roxell on his work with the older kids, but in his absence, I think it's those kind of partnerships that make it special in a small place where the music program and the athletic program can work in partnership to give kids these amazing experiences. And I can say that in 1983 and 1984, I danced, I sang. I wasn't good. I was in the monotone section. And but I have memories that have lasted a lifetime. So it's really neat to watch all of those things happen because we're building traditions as we're living it. And I look forward to seeing all the new things we're going to be able to do.
Moving on to committee reports. Facilities Committee. The Facilities Committee continues to explore options for public use of the pool at Mountain House High School. We also discussed changing the window for fall facilities application to give more flexibility to the sites. We are going over the facilities handbook, looking for possible changes and corrections. Our next meeting will be May 31st at 6:30 here in the boardroom. Trustee Clements, do you have anything to add?
I did, but I left my notes at home. There was one thing that we wanted to bring forward to comment on, but I guess I will have to do it in the next board meeting because I left my note on that at home. I apologize. Do you remember what it was? It was a good thing that we wanted to tell the board. Anyway, well, there'll be time in the next board meeting.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, I have an update about the pool today, so I wanted to share.
Go ahead.
Mr. LeGrand and I attended the construction meeting. So here's the update. On June 6th, they're going to plaster the pool and then put water in it. That water will be nasty, but they're going to put water in it for the curing process. On June 20th, they're going to put in the Musco lighting. And they said that we would get the keys to the pool on June 27th. So the work that the facilities subcommittee is doing, suddenly today we know a date when we're going to get the pool, which was earlier than we had anticipated. So there will be one project left, which is the solar heating units and shade structures. Those won't be put in for quite a while because it's still at DSA, but they have assured us that they'll be able to set up a security perimeter where if we have people wanting to rent the facility, that we can do that. So I wanted to let the board know and get direction, but also the facilities subcommittee members of Trustee Clements and Board President Pombo, that we need, if we have any policy, any decisions, it's time to put it in because we can start advertising the pool as a potential rentable place for people who want to run a program.
Yay, very exciting.
I will have to discuss that with Ms. Kaiser and see what we need to do as far as the upcoming facilities agenda.
Okay.
Do we get to do a ribbon cutting ceremony and jump in?
Yeah, we've been struggling with that because we're going to have 4 different places finishing at 4 different times. So we maybe if we can determine the water's clear.
Yeah, I would like the water to be clear.
I will be going for a swim shortly after we get it, one way or the other.
Regardless of what the water looks like?
Whatever, I can shower after.
Okay.
So just for the business of the pool, though, We won't advertise until we have a policy set, direction from the board, and then we'll put it out there and see what happens.
Thank you. District Advisory Committee, Trustee Clements.
The next meeting is on Wednesday, May 24th at 6:30. Yes.
District English, I'll get it.
English Language Advisory
Yes,
Committee.
it's my second language, apparently. Trustees Clements and Lampel.
Well, you were not at the redesignation ceremony last night. You obviously haven't mastered it yet. So you have some
Apparently.
work to do.
Apparently.
So last night at Altamont School, we recognized over 100 students who have been identified as English learners and through their hard work and support of school staff have gained English language proficiency and have been redesignated as RFEP, Redesignated English Proficient. These students will be monitored for a few years to assure that their English language proficiency continues to grow. The event was very well organized, and our students were very proud of their accomplishments. It was a beautiful evening. I've been in education for a long time, and I've never seen that number of students being redesignated. That's really reflective of their hard work and the hard work of their teachers and all of the support staff. So thank you to everyone involved. It was a very proud moment, very proud evening.
So I just wanted to point out that the previous meeting, we had how many people at the previous DLAC? Not this one, but the one before?
The multicultural.
The 50 some odd, and this one we had like 150, right, people from the community. So we've decided that we're going to have a competition to see which committee can have the most public participation this year. And we think we can take you this year.
And last year, because I've been on this committee for a while, we struggled to get one. So this is awesome. This committee's really going in the right direction under Mrs. Busatil's leadership. So thank you,
Great job.
Eileen.
Great job.
Thank you. Grant writing, no, I skipped one. Gate Arts and Music, Trustees Goodrich and Lampel.
I attended the Gate Arts and Music Committee meeting on April 25th, and I want to thank Director Sherburne for her great presentation. We watched a video of the Bethany Orchestra performing A Night on Bald Mountain. We also heard a report about the first 4 Gate sessions, and I wanted to make a special thanks to one of our teachers, Tammy Hurst, for stepping up and teaching the Gate classes for us because our original teacher was unable to do that. And the parents and staff who were present expressed an interest in the future in expanding the art programming and possibly exploring some robotics classes for the Gate classes in the future. And the Gate Committee will not be meeting for the rest of this year, and we will resume meetings in the fall.
Now, Grant Writing Committee, Trustees Goodrich and Lampel.
I attended the Grant Writing Committee on April 26th, oddly enough. We had 8 parents attend and Mrs. Busatil, and I want to thank Dr. Gill and her staff for preparing a great meeting and providing food and childcare because we were able to get a lot done. We have 2 grants that are nearly completed in the areas of music, and I believe the other one is the gardening, and then 2 STEM grants that we are working on. So we got a lot done, and it was very productive. So thank you to all who were able to attend and participate and help out.
And thank you. I'm sorry I had to miss both of those meetings. I was looking forward to them, but work happens.
Yep. And the Grant Writing Committee will not be meeting for the rest of the year. We will resume in the fall.
Thank you. Safety and Crisis Response, Trustee Balzerini is not here. Would you like to add anything, Dr. Gill?
We haven't had a meeting since our last meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
We haven't had a meeting since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be on May 17th.
Thank you. Wellness Committee. Our K-8s had anti-bullying assemblies, and according to site administrators, the assemblies were very well received by students, and positive changes have been noted. We reviewed the final draft of the district wellness plan that will, the first reading of which is at this meeting tonight. It will come before the board at our next meeting. The farmers market and relay recess are coming up at our K-8s, May 10th through 12th, and I urge my fellow board members to attend these events if you are able. The students have a lot of fun, and they are nice to attend. Our next meeting will be held, although in the agenda it says at 3:30, it will actually be at 3:45 at Mountain House High School in room 152 on May 10th. It was moved because of some staff commitments. And that concludes my Wellness Committee report. Governing Board reports. Madam Student Trustee.
Okay, so since it's Teacher Appreciation Week, I wanted to take a moment to thank all of the amazing teachers in our district for everything they continue to do for me and all of the other students in the district. I also wanted to acknowledge something very unique that happened in leadership last week. Mr. Faubert came into the class to have leadership students give feedback about the qualities we want to have in our teachers. We were able to give feedback with Google Documents, sticky notes, and through discussion afterwards. Some people even got creative and defined their idea of a perfect teacher by inserting pictures of their favorite teachers with short descriptions on a document. I really like the activity because it made students feel like their input really matters. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Goodrich.
Well, as I just mentioned, I attended the GATE committee meeting on April 25th and also the grant writing committee meeting on April 26th. And I did want to report that at our last board meeting, we did, on April 5th, the board did respond to some of the community concerns about board members attending different interviews and that required interviews that would require board member participation. And as a board, we decided that those would be offered to all board members so that we could all participate, which I think was a great decision. So I want to thank all of our my trustees, my fellow trustees, and the president for making sure that we all have an opportunity to participate in those interviews. Other than that, that's all I have to report at this point.
Thank you. Trustee Clements.
As discussed, I attended the Facilities Committee meeting and the English Language Advisory Committee meeting. I also had the opportunity to attend the University of Pacific's Phi Delta Kappa Chapter Awards Banquet because Dr. Gill received an award for Distinguished Service in School Administration. So I wanted to publicly say congratulations to Dr. Gill and also wish her very well as she transitions to her new district.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel.
Besides the wonderful event at Altamont with the DLAC group last night, on April 9th, I had the distinct pleasure of attending a performance of Peter Pan at Wickland Elementary. What an absolutely amazing production. The students' performances and sets were outstanding. The Wickland Foundation is to be commended for their hard work and dedication to their school. Not only did they organize everything about this play, but they worked with over 80 students creating 2 casts to allow more students to participate. If you can't imagine what a monumental task that is, just think about herding cats, okay? But the students were so well rehearsed and they were having fun, and they put on a fabulous performance. I wanted to clarify what our wonderful vocalist said a few minutes ago, that the high school concert's on May 19th, because it's in 2 places on their calendar. It's on 2 consecutive Fridays. So he said the 19th?
Yes, that's
what he
okay.
said tonight.
Yes, that's the correct.
I'll move it from the other date, because I had it on the wrong date. I'd also like to inquire if the board would be interested in doing some kind of float or something in the July 4th parade. We have quickly talked about it in the past that we should do something, but now would be the time to start addressing it. No more mini, sorry. I don't know if anyone's interested. I don't have access to anything, so.
We can certainly kick around the idea of maybe,
The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. I would love to do something like that, but we'd have to have a commitment of time from us, right?
I'm not talking about really a big deal. I'm just talking about us all being together in the
we could all
parade.
just ride in the back of a pickup truck.
We could. We absolutely could. Just, I think it would be nice if we did something together. Because in years past, we've been in different cars. You and I have been in the same car a couple of times. And I just think it would be nice to be all together.
I think
That's my
that would be
point.
fun.
With bales of hay?
Yes, I was thinking
Sure.
the bales of hay was where I was going too, so that would be fun. I think that
Yeah,
would be a
just
great idea.
something.
Something simple like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bales of hay in the back of a pickup truck would be fun.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We will.
Representing our roots, you know.
Something simple like that, I recant and go with, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Is everyone going to be around July 4th?
I will, yes.
Yeah, I will.
I believe so.
I believe so.
Okay, great.
I hope I'm still around.
Okay.
Oh.
What did I write? I don't know why I wrote that. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. It's been almost a month since our last board meeting, and this is a busy, busy time of year, and it's getting busier by the minute. My family and I enjoyed a Stockton Heat hockey game with the Lammersville School Foundation. It was a lot of fun. Quite a few families showed up for that fundraiser. We also went to the senior breakfast, the Mountain House High School senior breakfast at Applebee's. There was a good turnout. The students serving were attentive and seemed to be having a good time, and we enjoyed it. My family and I also attended the Wickland drama presentation of Peter Pan. It was wonderful. The student actors did a great job, and so did Vicki Beckman and her crew from WSF. We had a great time. I had the pleasure of being involved in the Altamont Dare graduation. It's great seeing students involved in such a positive program, and a thank you to Officer Abercrombie and the Altamont school staff. That's a lot of time commitment that they put in to get that to our students. As Trustee Clements mentioned, he and I and Superintendent Nicholas, along with other district staff, attended the University of Pacific Phi Delta Kappa Chapter Awards Dinner, where Dr. Gill received an award for distinguished service in school administration. It was wonderful to see Dr. Gill recognized for all of her hard work and the dedication that she has given to this district and our students. And I too wish her well in her future endeavors. My family also attended, along with me, the Wickland Gladiators event. The kids had a blast in all the bouncy houses, and my 3-year-old grandson tried the giant boxing gloves, but he ended up laying on his face with his hands stuck in the gloves. So that was interesting. And I was lucky enough to walk away with a couple of auction baskets. And that concludes my governing board report.
I forgot to mention the Gladiators. I was there too, and I also got to pick up a basket at Lisa Boulet's house last night.
Very nice. This is the time for receiving of public comments. I see none, so we will move on to consent items for consideration. Item A, approval of governing meeting minutes from the regular meeting of April 5th. Approval of contracts under $25,000. Approval of 2016-2017 hires. Approval of 2017-2018 hires. Acceptance of retirement. Acceptance of resignations. Approval of updated 2016-2017 fundraisers. And approval of 2017-2018 fundraisers. Staff report?
There are none.
I have a question. Should I pose the question before or after there's a motion?
Either one is fine.
Okay, so on the facilities use, I read over the minutes, and I'm very curious why an organization that so blatantly violated our rental policy is flagged and not just banned from use of our facilities. It seemed pretty heavy-duty to me, and I thought we were going kind of soft.
Yeah, well, there was quite a bit of discussion, and the discussion ended up on the likelihood is they will never be allowed to use our facilities again, but we erred on the side of caution in case further information came to light or something, so we left it at that.
Okay, I just hope we can be strong. We've talked as a board about protecting our facilities and maintaining the standards that we have adopted. And if there's a group that is so blatantly going to violate and just ignore our rules, I'm not on the committee. I just thought it was soft.
We did discuss it, and we're definitely erring. The presumption is no, that they're not going to be allowed, but we allowed for the possibility that they could.
This was a one-time use. It's the first time this particular person came forward and put in an application. It was the one-time use, had the findings that they found.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the things that were alleged were hearsay. No one was caught doing anything, so that's just the way we felt was best to handle it, is flag them. If they do, I kind of doubt that they, after the way it went down, I kind of doubt that they will in the future, but if they do, we can likely tell them no at that time.
The reason why I'm being so strong about it, I don't know the group. It didn't say in the minutes who it was. I don't want to know who it is. But when you start banning groups, the word gets out. You cannot abuse this organization's facilities. And that word gets out to other groups in the area, and they will know that we feel very strongly and we will protect what we have, because what we have is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to keep it that way.
And speaking for myself as chair of the committee, had staff member caught them doing the alleged things, it would have just, I think it would have been a ban.
Yeah.
Since they were not caught actually doing the things that were alleged, we felt that it was proper just to flag them in case something came up in the future.
Thank you, because that wasn't
Anything
clear
to
in the
add?
minutes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then it makes more sense.
All
But
right,
we need to be strong.
I agree. We need a motion.
Oh, I'll move to approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Before Trustee Lampel reads the new hires, I would just like to say a few words about a retirement that's on here. Linda Beardsley has been in education for 28 years, the last 13 years of which have been here in Lammersville Unified. She opened the school at Wickland School and has been there the entire time that it's been in existence, and she will be missed. I wish her well in her retirement. Trustee Lampel?
I would like to, I'm going to do this out of order because I want to start with congratulating Mrs. Busatil. She's been interim principal. And truly this year proved what she's made of that we already knew, and that's why we assigned her as the interim principal. So absolute congratulations on being the administrator of student services and the K-8 principal. Welcome. I'd also like to welcome the new hires to our Lammersville family. Lisa Eisman, self-contained classroom teacher. Robin Faulkner, district receptionist administrative secretary. Brooke Fell, elementary office supervisor. Mayela Garay, bilingual instructional aide. Andrea Hanlon, special education aide. Carmen Sims, administrative secretary. and a fond farewell to those that are leaving our family, and thank you for what you have done for our students.
I was in Mrs. Beardsley's class a week and a half ago, I think it was, and 28 years or 13 years, she was really doing an amazing job with some youngsters, and high energy, great instruction, great classroom management. Kids were learning. It was exciting. So it's nice when someone makes a decision to move on and gives their best effort till the very last day.
Item 10, District Administrative Reports. Superintendent's Report, Dr. Nicholas.
What's exciting about the superintendent report is pretty much all I get to do is read about kids doing great things for our district. So I have some exciting announcements here. I'm going to try to read them without wearing the glasses. We have a young person, a sixth grade student from Wickland at the State Science Fair, represent our district and himself and the Wildcats very well. At the Raytheon Academic Junior Recognition Award, he received that award, and he got a certificate and $250 in cash. Now this is just wait till you hear what the kid did.
There's more.
All right, 15 interviews, one-on-one, 15 different judges, where he had to explain his project and with subject matter knowledge, 4 hours in all. So congratulations. What an amazing and epic effort from a young person who will be a very successful job candidate in the future.
And his name I clap now?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
His name is?
Did I not say that? That's embarrassing.
I think you
All right.
did.
Mystery person. No, his name is Arsh Muhib.
No, you
Hey,
didn't.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arsh.
John Doe. Sorry about that. Secondly, we also had a very successful day at the academic pentathlon. Our Altamont Panthers, representing Panther Pride, placed 4th overall and had too many winners to list off at this time, but we're going to catch them next week, our next board meeting at the Words Assembly. But we have other schools, Bethany, who placed first place in math, Aditha Varma, social science, second place, Isaac and Chatnu, and third place again, Sadia Afrin, language arts, and then Adithya also placed there as well in third place. Cuesta Kyle Vergara, 8th grade, took second place in essay, and Cheryl Victor, 7th grade, took second place in math. And Wickland, Connor Sue and Atticus Kinnelly were top 10 for the 6th grade, and Terrence Nguyen earned a first place in math. Manisha Deardio and Terrence Nguyen also earned in their 6th grade categories, that was in literature. So kids are doing very well, and there's more to come next meeting. And then, because every adult likes to keep their childhood going as long as possible, one of our coordinators was featured in EdTech magazine. And if you look at it like this, he looks like a pain-suffering educator. But if you told it correctly, Mr. Gervais had an article featured about him for his flipped learning expertise, and that's him on bars hanging upside down. So congratulations for Mr. Gervais's experience. And then just to acknowledge Dr. Gill, we've got a lovely picture of Dr. Gill receiving her award, and I want to thank Trustee Clemens and President Pombo, CBO Kaiser, Carol Saul, family and friends, and the like. We had a good contingent there for some Chinese food. Oh, and Principal Gonzalez, absolutely. So it was a great evening. Congratulations, you make UOP proud. Continuing. So Kush Gill is a legend over there at the University of the Pacific. So congratulations. And
Yay, Dr. Gill.
And that is my report.
Thank you. Excuse me, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here. It's too hot. Don't point it. So, as was mentioned earlier, I attended the construction meeting today, and then went over spring break. Good news on the pool. So the workaround that I mentioned today happened. So it's good news. I want to give everyone a heads up. On the flat work around the pool, I've already notified the principal and athletic director. The flat work is going to get what they call a heavy broom finish. It's going to be really rough, and I told the site to expect some complaints. Initially, it'll wear down over time. Could take 3 months, could take up to 12 months for it to wear down. Won't be quite an issue, but there will be, prevent slipping and that kind of stuff. So I want to give you guys a heads up too, so if you hear anything about it from the public, you know. So I told the site to expect some complaints about some roughness on the feet for the first few months. So just so you guys know. Last Thursday, we did a technology tour of the library and the theater, just to make sure TVs are where they want them and that kind of stuff with Heather and some other people from IT and Alvina. So that was good. Not too many changes. That's always nice. So last Wednesday, I spent with Turner and the subcontractors and people from we have a lot of problems with the keyless door access pretty much since the school opened. We spent the better part of 5 hours going through things, checking it out, and I'm happy to say that problem is resolved as of today. So that's good news. I attended District Facilities Committee last Wednesday. We're currently in the middle of our planning for summer, meeting with vendors, getting things lined up. If you have a chance to come by my office over at Lammersville, we have a whiteboard full of projects in various stages of development. And to that end, I'm meeting with the custodian, the day custodians, next Monday to focus on the cleaning planning for the summer. And that concludes my report.
Do we have an update on the moisture issue on the floors at Altamont?
I was going to put it on here, but I thought you guys might ask, so I just. So over spring break, we did another.
We're going to ask every single time. One of us is going to ask.
This way, I figured it'd be the only question you would ask me, so I would just.
That actually makes sense.
I'm just kidding. So we did a pressure test over spring break. We did the same thing we did before on Wednesday. Checked it on Friday. Slight dip in pressure. We decided to let it go over the weekend. I went and checked it Monday, down to 0. So there is some sort of a pinhole leak somewhere between the shutoff valve, which is about 4 or 5 feet outside the building, to the classroom. So Turner acknowledges there's a leak. They're committed to fixing it. The problem is pinpointing kind of where the leak is. We don't want to just go crazy, start jackhammering stuff up. The expectation is the leak will be fixed, and both of the rooms will have new flooring by the time school starts in August. So I talked to them today after the meeting. So that's where we're at with that.
Thank you.
And this is still being treated as a warranty
Yes, sir.
issue? Very good.
Yes, sir.
Further questions?
At what point do they say, well, we don't want to be just jackhammering to find it? What point do we say, okay, we need to jackhammer to find it?
They're going to fix it. Like I said, the shutoff's about 4 or 5 feet outside the building, and that's where they'll access the water line. And what they'll do is probably run it up on the outside of the building to supply water for the rest of the building. But you want to make sure where you tie in, if this is all new, where you tie in, it's not leaking beyond where you tie in, because then you haven't fixed the problem.
Right.
So it may be a case we have to run new water lines over and then drop down to the room depending on where we're at. Especially if feeds the science room. So it will get fixed. We're just trying to do our due diligence to make sure we've actually fixed the leak.
So if I understand you correctly, there may be no jackhammering involved. It may just be.
I don't anticipate any jackhammering of the slab itself. It'll be outside the footing of the building. I would not recommend jackhammering the building unless absolutely necessary.
The likelihood is
worded the question wrong.
a pipe going up the wall through the attic space and then dropping down to something to tie in.
If I was fixing it, that would be my recommendation, yes, to tie in at the valve, shut-off valve, run it outside the building, and then go overhead and drop it down where it needs to be. I would not recommend jackhammering the slab.
Yeah.
No, that slab's
I
been
worded
lying.
my question wrong. I should have just said, so at what point do they actually do something?
Well,
Because
we're gonna
this has been
fix it
going on
this
for a
summer.
long time.
It'll be fixed over the summer.
Okay.
They've committed, they're gonna do it. They acknowledge there's a problem, so
I'll be
they're.
very happy when you come in and say, see, I told you so.
Me too.
So if we're going to run a pipe up the outside of the building, will we see what the aesthetics of that look like before it gets done?
Well, when I set up the outside of the building, I'm assuming it will be within the wall, an outside wall, and then.
Could be on the outside. I was thinking like a barber pole, the old barber poles with the stripe on it.
So-
No good.
With Christmas
No,
lights.
They still have barber
on
poles.
it.
No, it will make it look good. It's not
It's a
going to be.
brand new school, right?
It's not going to be a hack job, so it'll look good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Legrand.
You got it. Thank you.
11, action items. Consider approval of 2016-2017 intra-district transfer request. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2016-2017 intra-district transfer requests.
Second.
Discussion by the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of 2017-2018 inter-district transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2017-2018 intra and inter-district transfer requests.
Second.
My people were about leaving me hanging there.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, approval of Comcast Business WAN E-rate service proposal. Staff report?
I'll defer to Alvina.
There is no staff report. We're going to continue with our services with Comcast to provide us our needs. We are going to be increasing the gigabyte size to, I think, the County Office of Education, so that will, as we continue to grow, be able to maintain the technology that we have in the district.
I noticed in the report that there were no other bids. Do we feel that they are competitive with a lack of other bids?
I had one particular vendor that sent in a question, but they didn't submit a bid. And I've been with this district 10 and a half years, almost 11 years, and we've always had Comcast.
I'll move for approval of Comcast Business WAN E-rate service proposal.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 161717 for issuance and sale of special tax bonds for the purpose of financing outstanding bonds and financing authorized facilities and approving and authorizing related documents and actions. Staff report?
So this is the refinancing of 2002, the CFD, but we have Chris Lynch and Erica Gonzalez who can be articulate about any particular questions you have.
I have a very simple question. At what point through the process, there's a lot of blanks for numbers and things in these documents. When do those get filled in?
Good evening, Erica Gonzalez with Stiefel. So the blanks throughout the preliminary official statement and some of the other legal documents get filled in after we price the bonds, when we go into the market and determine the interest rates for the bonds, the final par amount and debt service and coupons and yields will all be filled in once that's determined.
Okay. The only other thing I noticed in there, and I'm far from an expert in this stuff, shouldn't the address on page 100 be corrected? It's the old address, I think.
We'll correct it.
I don't have it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I knew it wasn't a big deal. And there were all the blanks that had to be fixed, so the address could be fixed.
That was a really good catch.
I read it and try to understand it.
So did I, but I didn't read that.
I noticed what I believe is a typo on page 164 of the packet, and in just a second, I'll let you know what page of I think it's 33 of the explanation. But in table 7, the columns to the right side of the page are both identified as greater than 6,000 feet, and I believe the one to the right should be lesser to or equal 6,000 feet, I believe.
Yep. We'll make that change as well.
And that is, yes, page 33 of
Got it.
Of the document. Further questions or comments by the board?
That was also a good catch. I said that was also a good catch.
I always pick one page and read it really thoroughly.
I'll move for approval of Governing Board Resolution number 16-17-17 for issuance and sale of special tax bonds for the purpose of financing outstanding bonds and financing authorized facilities, and approving and authorizing related documents and actions.
Second.
Further discussion by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Ann Goodrich,
Aye.
Sharon Lampel,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye. Item E, consider approval of 2017-2018 Governing Board meeting calendar. I'm going to have to,
I have a comment.
go ahead.
September 20th is the start of Rosh Hashanah. It is 2 of the holiest days of the Jewish calendar of the entire year. 2 days out of the year. That would be like having a board meeting on Christmas or Easter.
We had one on my birthday a few years ago.
Oh, well, then never mind Rosh
I had one
Hashanah.
on my birthday, too. Okay.
I remember last time we had some kind of conflict. I asked for major holidays of the major religions that are represented in Mountain House to be checked. And that's a pretty big one. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the only 2 that I would really comment on. I've been at board meetings on the first night of Passover, but Rosh Hashanah is a big deal.
So what we can do is we could move that meeting in you said September 20th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we can move that meeting. I'd have to see the calendar. I don't know. Is that a 5-week month?
So what I'd like us to do,
27th would
I
be the
think,
next.
for the purposes tonight, we can approve the calendar and come back, because it's hard to do it on the spot to figure out a date to move it to. So I would be very happy to propose approving the calendar with the understanding that we can come back at the next board meeting and figure out a resolution to that one issue. I don't have any calendars in front of me to look anything up. The other major religions that are represented in Mountain House, it's not just Christianity and Judaism. And I don't even know what to look up. Is that okay with it? Well, I'll make a motion. I'll find out if it's okay.
So the motion is to approve the calendar pending possible,
Is there a reason that is there a administrative reason that we need to have a calendar tonight? If so, I would say that, or otherwise we could table it until the next meeting and approve it then.
I don't think there's any reason to. It's just we usually do it at this meeting annually.
Yeah,
So
it's-
we can go with either.
Either one, I don't care.
Either way, I don't care.
So you want to?
Is it clearer if we do it all at once for record-keeping purposes? Doesn't matter? I don't know.
Make a motion.
Move to approve the 2017-2018 Governing Board meeting calendar with the understanding that we're going to revisit it in the next meeting.
Okay, I'll second.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Information and discussion items. Item A, California dashboard. Staff report, I'm hoping.
So one of the parts of the change that came with SBAC and CASP and the new reporting systems is this California dashboard. So instead of trying to explain it all in one night, I've asked staff, we're going to start with a general overview by Director Sherburne, and then additional staff will come in, Dr. Gill from one angle of data and Sherburne from another, and kind of roll it out piecemeal. The one thing that everyone has to get used to is there's not going to be a scoreboard to point to and say, we won, or we're the best, or the like. You're going to get multiple pieces of information in the case of the dashboard colors. There's still the bar graphs from the CASP, but there's not going to be, you have an API score of X, and therefore you're good or you're bad. So it's something that we have to get people accustomed to. So our choice tonight is to start a rollout of presentations to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this. And we'll start with Director Sherburne.
But we will probably be able to say that we have more green than anyone else.
We do have a lot of green and we have a lot of blue, and then there's a perplexing direction from the state about suspension rates that all districts are scratching their head about.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's great to be back up here with you and be able to share some information about the California School Accountability Dashboard. The dashboard is California's new accountability system. It is currently in its pilot state officially right now, and it will be the official program starting for the 17-18 school year. This accountability program was developed in response to 2013's governor's proposal of transitioning California state funding over to LCFF. And along with our local control funding formula, we have developed as a state LCAP plan that each district has to work on. So the idea is that with the LCFF and the LCAP plan, we need to have an accountability system that can really inform the public. If we're going to have local control, we want to make sure that the public has an understanding of what is going on within its schools and its district in order to make decisions at that local control level about where the money should be spent, what the priorities are, and how we should be making sure that all students are achieving. So it will provide, LCFF is providing that additional flexibility for a district, and then also providing some accountability to help make sure that the public has the information it needs to make decisions. It will help us to monitor progress on indicators. There are 6 state indicators and 4 local indicators that will be discussed in more detail later on. But those indicators are the part of it where the state gets to help us decide these are the things that we know we have to look at. On the local indicators, we have general categories, and the district and school sites have some ability to have input into how we go about measuring and monitoring progress. And we'll talk more about that later as well. The main indicator areas are English language arts and math, academic achievement, college and career readiness, graduation rates, I can't talk tonight either, English learner progress, suspension rates, chronic absences, parent engagement, and school climate. The idea being that there's a commitment to continuous improvement for all students from wherever they're at and however you're looking at them, whether you're looking at a population of such as English learners, you're looking at foster youth, homeless, special ed, but you're also looking at the ethnicities that are involved. You're African American, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, Filipino, populations, and really digging in to see how are all of our different students doing from a variety of standpoints. So the dashboard is meant to be a tool used to inform the LEAs or school districts in the development of that LCAP and their use of the LCFF funding. So how is this different? And Dr. Nicholas started to talk about that. The previous system we had was an API. So schools in Mountain House had 912 API. The highest score that you could possibly have is 1,000. The target for all schools was to reach 800. Many schools were having difficulty getting into the 700s, and some of them started down in the 400 and 500 range. There was a lot of progress underneath that, but it really was a tool that has seen its day come and gone, in my opinion, because, and obviously the state's opinion, because we've made a transition, because it really was very narrowly focused just on one test, one time of the year, and that achievement that comes out of that one exact test. And it was an A or F model. You either hit proficiency or you did not hit proficiency, and you were penalized heavily for a district that's failing if you did not meet that level. It did not validate or consider any of the other complex things that go on within schools and school districts that really impact achievement. It did not consider growth. It did not consider progress in the right direction. It just was an A or F. You either hit the goal or you fail. There's no other grade. So the new system is the California School Dashboard, and it's based on multiple measures, not just the academic measures, because we know schools are far more complex than that. And if you look at, those are the 8 state priority, or the 6 state priorities and the 4 local priorities. That is what is going into that dashboard, and we're gathering data and looking at these complex systems. It also will measure what will be called status and change. That's something that we are going to get really familiar with. It's going to say it's not only that you reach the target, but wherever you were, did you move and improve? Or if you were at the target, did you still continue to grow, or at least maintain, or did you go backwards? Because in some cases, if you took like the API model from before, you may have an 879. And then you drop to an 820. Well, technically, you're still over 800. Everybody thinks an 820 is still a really good score. You still have a lot of students who are proficient, but clearly you have some students who are not proficient, and it could be misleading out there in the public that this is a school that I might have concerns about because it's going the wrong direction. So in this system, it recognizes not only status, but change of where you are going, and it does that for all groups that we're looking at underneath these different priorities. Again, looking at all students, it will identify areas of success and specific areas where assistance and energy and LCAP time and thought and LCF funding should be allocated. So let's take a look. We have a very nice video that really does a much better job than I could ever do. If you would click on the link that says, let's take a look. So launch the video.
No pressure, Alvina.
Of course, Noel watched that.
Did you want to hear another choir story while we're waiting?
I have a hard time believing you were a choir boy.
I'm telling you, I have pictures to show it.
Oh, there we go. Somebody come pull the
And
knife out of
I will say that the region's most successful high school football coach with 3 state football championships was in the class of 1972. Was the people that started that tradition. So and that's Coach Mark Lareau. So it's a very interesting group. But it was I got to tell you, what a hoot.
I want to remind you all that Samantha's dance performance is May 13th. So you should all be sure to attend.
If I didn't have a bad back, I would have a dance-off with Samantha, but I would be afraid I'd pull up lame.
I mean, if you want to be the intermission act, I'm sure I can help you with that.
He could sing, apparently.
You're getting pummeled up there.
That's all right.
Thank God for your bad back.
I think he should sing.
Samantha, is that at 6 o'clock again? I
Yes.
remember the last one was at
Yes.
6, okay.
And is there a cost for admission?
I'm on your
$5.
side, Dr. Nicholas. Oh.
Thank you. Absolutely. You know, it's enthusiasm. Sometimes it takes over for talent, in my case. And it's always possible that we can finish it up and show it at another time. There are a few really good these little mini clips that do a good job.
So send us the link. We can watch it on our own.
All right. I will,
Did it work?
if she can get the answer from Noel, we'll come back to that. And now the clicker isn't working. Man. The screen's frozen.
You can't. You don't have to just point at it. You have to actually touch the screen.
That's what I did, but now I'm not even seeing her presentation now on here. We're watching that video.
All right. Well,
So as we wait for that, I'll tell the board, it's kind of funny, there's little pieces of indicators, because remember I mentioned colors a couple of minutes ago? There's also pieces that look like Trivial Pursuit pieces.
Yes, there are.
And you know why they have the number of pieces as well as the colors? Because if you print it on a black and white printer, with the pieces, you'll know what it is, because you won't see green, red, or blue, or yellow, I think the other one is. So I thought that was quite
clever.
insightful of the State Department, and how many hours did they take to decide that?
They probably printed it a few times and thought, oh, this
Yeah.
doesn't tell me anything, right? It's too bad our music department is not recognized on the dashboard, because we would definitely have all green.
Oh, yeah.
I think that every time I go to a football game. An away football game. Like,
When this happens at board meetings at work, someone's head is going to roll the next day, because my
Okay, so if we get the video working, it'll walk you through and explain some of the information that I was sharing with you already.
Well, as Trustee Clemens suggested, could you just send us the link?
I absolutely can.
Okay.
Yes. So the dashboard is actually a live website. The website is right here posted there on the screen. And this is a template of what it looks like. And there are, just to give you an idea of what a lot of great information is. When you go to the website, you'll type in Lammersville Unified School District, or you will type in the school's name, and up will come this report that looks like this. And there are a variety of information on there. This is called the equity report, and this is where the page lands automatically. You'll see then the school information or the district information listed here, and you can see that this is the first tab. This is why it's the equity report, which is titled up at the top. Over here, these tabs will dig down and drill down deeper and deeper in order to look at it. As I mentioned earlier, you have status and change, so that's what we're looking at here on this next report. If you look over at the next feature, it has the detailed reports where you can take a subpopulation such as English learners and drill down even deeper. You could take one of the priorities, the suspension rate, and drill down even deeper into that. If you look at the student group report, that student group report will take all of the different populations that we disaggregate the data, and it will allow you to dig in deeper and see at one glance how each of those student groups are doing. So you have a variety of tabs there to give you a lot of information. You'll also notice that here you see these are the indicators that are here, and this is where the local indicators will be at, and these are all hot links that you can click into. Over to the right of that, you see these are the pies. The pie grids are showing you colors. Green and blue, as Trustee Lampel stated, are the colors that are considered good, and that's what we're looking to achieve for all of our students. It means you have hit the right status level and you've had positive change in order to achieve a blue or a green. When you have a yellow area, that means that you are improving and doing a good job, making progress, but there's still a little bit of room to go on that situation. What you'll also notice about those pies is that there are a different number of pies in the Trivial Pursuit kind of picture look of it, and that is to help support visually impaired students, or if you were if you were printing the reports out and you didn't have color printing, you would be able to again determine what the status and change was without the benefit of the color there. So you will get a lot of information off of that, and we'll dig into those reports a little bit more. As a reminder, the local indicators are down here, and then there will be a spot for the district to enter some narrative summary information on this report, and that is currently not live and active. It just became available for districts to start inputting data into those areas now. As I mentioned before, it's still in its pilot stage, so districts are not required to put that information in at this point in time, but that'll be there, and it'll allow districts to give some more narrative explanation of what is going on with some of the data that we have. Were you able to get the video?
Director Sherburne, is all of this done yet, or is the state still building and figuring out parts of this?
The state is still figuring out, while the dashboard is up and operating and running, they are still gathering some of the data sources. So for instance, right now, if you look at chronic absentee rates, they're still looking at pulling that data and doing a comparison. Graduation rate, if we look at for ours right now, we don't have a comparison to get status and change. So there are certain parts of it they are still working on the data sources. Those will be ready and available next year.
So I know when I heard about this at work, and it was a little while ago, the we couldn't put it in yet. Is that up and running? The local indicators that we enter ourselves?
The information, that's what I was talking about with the narrative areas and all of that, that is available in pilot form, and it was just opened for districts to be able to do that. They are not required to do that at this point in time. That won't be happening as a requirement until next year. Not this one, the back one screen to the video. Okay. Yes. Back one more, right here, and click on the take a look. Okay. There you go.
Took 16 clicks, Alvina, not 14.
How your school and your district are performing. It's called the California School Dashboard, and it's basically a report card for your school and your district. The dashboard is used to take a deep look into the many performance areas that are key to preparing students for college and career after graduation. Ideally, your child attends a school that is clean and has the latest textbooks, a school that is a safe place to learn where parents are an active and supportive part of the community, a place where your child is engaged, motivated to learn, and taught to think critically so that they can graduate well prepared for college and career. The California School Dashboard was put in place to make sure this is the story for every child, in every school, in every district throughout California. So, how do we know how well schools and districts are doing? The dashboard measures progress by looking at 10 different areas known as indicators. 4 of the indicators are measured by the local school district, and 6 of the indicators are measured by the state. The dashboard combines the local and state information to give a complete picture of how individual schools and districts are performing. So, how are the indicators used to tell a school and district story? Let's take a look at the 10 performance areas. Local indicators. These are the 4 indicators that measure the performance of a school district as a group of schools. They are measured by the local school district. Basic conditions. Students have access to the latest learning materials, such as textbooks, in a safe and clean environment. Parent engagement. Parents provide input and are involved in all school activities. Implementation of academic standards. Teachers are participating in professional development and using innovative strategies in the classroom. School climate. Students and parents feel connected to and safe in their schools. For each of these local indicators, the district will assess their progress using met, not met, or not met for 2 or more years. These are the 6 indicators that measure the performance of schools and school districts. These indicators are measured by the state of California. College and career. This is the percentage of students prepared for college and career after graduation. Graduation rate. This is the percentage of students who graduate with a high school diploma. Academics. This measures the academic progress of students in 3rd through 8th grade in literacy and math. English learner progress. This is the percentage of English language learners who improve each year in their English language proficiency. Chronic absenteeism. This is the percentage of students absent for more than 10% of the school year. Suspension rate. This is the percentage of students who are suspended at least once from school during the academic year. For each of these indicators, the state rates them on a color scale ranging from blue to red, with blue being the highest performance and red being the lowest. Let's take a look at how all this could apply to a school district. For example, in this district, schools overall are meeting their basic needs, implementation of academic standards, and parent engagement. However, they are not meeting school climate. Students are thriving where it is blue and green for academics, English learner progress, graduation rate, and college and career. However, this district needs to improve where there is yellow and orange for chronic absenteeism and suspension rate. The new California dashboard provides a more transparent and detailed look at local schools and districts. The ultimate goal is to help schools to continuously improve and be more equipped to address the specific needs of all students and prepare them to be college and career ready. The new California dashboard moves past looking only at a test score and allows you to have access to a more holistic view of your child's school and district. To learn more about the California dashboard, visit acoe.org and search dashboard.
All right, so that gives you a gist of the overview and a nice recap of the information I had shared with you. This is the website I alluded to that you would come to if you wanted to look up a school district. We're not going to do that right now, though. So if we can go back to the presentation. It takes you to seeing that the indicators that were just explained again, this is what it would look like on that report, and then we would go through all of those reports, and we will look at those in more detail. So questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. When we come back next time, we plan to take a look at the state indicators, and we'll talk a lot more in depth looking at how that status and change is measured and how we're doing with that, and give you a full picture of what that looks like. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can someone email the board that link to the dashboard, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Was that video from Alameda County Office of Ed, was that easily downloaded, or did you need to get permission from them?
Nope, it's out public on Vimeo, and actually I think the link
In fact,
is available on AXA as well.
This thing has gone viral because it's so dialed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item B, Mountain House High School construction contingency usage.
So when we did the contract, the board approved a contingency account, and then through that I give a report. So that's on page 206, and you got that with your board packet. But I did want to bring forward the two big ones that are coming up for consideration. All of the big ones we've done have been about energy savings and money in the long run, or about safety. So it was recommended that the 2012 lighting in the theater be reconsidered from the old model to LED lights, which in the short run are more expensive. In the long run, will require less times up and down the catwalk, which is up high, and more functional use of changing the colors of the lights. So that's one that's in consideration, and we're taking a look at, but that one would take a chunk of our contingency, which is very healthy. And the second one brings up an old bad memory, but DSA, and I want to get the term right, pathway access. So we have 4 projects in 4 different parts of the school, and when they're completed, DSA is going to take a look, and one of the things they look at is pathway access. So with the heaving soil, if you all remember the concrete that looked just fine, but it was beyond the 2% grade, or I think it's 2.3 with the digital levels, there's a possibility that there may be some concrete that has to be replaced from the original project that is going to fall within our contingency responsibilities, and I was given that heads up today. So the pool area to where the entrance of the high school football stadium is, there's going to get 2 looks when the pool's done. And the DSA guy that sits in the meeting said everything's looking really good, but it's going to get a look there, and it's going to get a look when we open up the snack bar restrooms at the high school in the football stadium. So that's one area. The access points to the theater and to the Learning Commons library, that's another area. So that is a concern. I'm not saying that we're going to take a big hit. I'm just saying that based on the clay soil, the swelling, the lot of rain we got, it's possible that there might be some areas, not a scary amount, but could be a chunk that has to be replaced. And the way we dealt with it last time was to challenge the workmanship, but you get a challenge workmanship with the same team one time because everybody learns their lesson. So all the due diligence that we asked for is being done, and so this is another possible expenditure.
So the pathway issue was anticipated only to be similar with the soil issue, no design issues.
Right, no design, no compaction. It's just if the ground heaved in a particular area and it went like this and it gets past 2.3% grade, then it's going to get red flagged. So they gave me a heads up today, but the LED thing, I trying to think about this project in terms of what are they going to need in 15 years? What are they going to need in 20 years? So in the CTE building, can the rooms be convertible? And the answer is yes in 4 of the 5. So LED lighting for safety reasons and electricity costs over time makes sense to me, but it does come with a cost, and it would be a change order from the original design.
I have a couple of questions on the items listed on page 206. Number 403, remove hot water ground vault installed in previous phase in conflict with building foundation. Do you have any explanation for that? Is it something that we did something different than what was originally anticipated, or?
So the way we set this up, and so I may have to get back to you on that, was that I would bring informationally what the change orders are and their costs, so you can kind of track it. That's the role I play. And then if you have any specific questions, I can either have Wes here, or I can get you the answers to them. But all of these, typically what happens is they draw it one way, and then in the construction meetings, and Mr. LeGrand's not here, I don't think he just left, if there's a need for a debate, there's a debate, and responsibilities are fought out, and so when it's not like they just assign them to us. But if you have a specific question, I would probably ask for an email, and I can get you an explanation.
Okay, I'm just curious as to whether that is something that was unforeseen, or if somebody should have foreseen it and didn't, and now they're asking us to foot the bill. And I have the same question with item 406, which is modify stadium field power boxes to improve water resistance. That's on the football field or soccer field?
That is correct. It was it was designed, it was approved, and then as I understand it, then it was kind of fixed temporarily, but this is a permanent fix to the problem. But the problem wasn't a design problem, it wasn't a construction problem, it was just something that needed to be fixed. And when those things come up, where it was designed and it met the inspection standards, and they built it the way they were supposed to, then any improvements are going to fall on the district. I know that one because I had to deal with it about 1.5 years ago, but that's kind of where it's at. But for me, what's most important is we came up with a way to do this, and I'm running it out the way we did it, and I didn't come prepared to answer specific questions to this. So if we need to change the way we're doing it so you can ask questions, that's fine with me, but then I need to have Wes here, or I need the questions beforehand so I can answer them. Or Jimmy, because some of this stuff is going to be beyond my abilities.
My suggestion would be that we get all our questions out, so it's out there in the public. We can get answers via email, and then the board president can decide if we need Wes at the next meeting to field
Right.
them, or if the emails are sufficient. But I think it's important to get the questions out here at the board meeting.
Anyway, on the football field, that was something that didn't, as I understand it, didn't work from the beginning.
That's correct.
And I'm not sure if it was you said it's not a design flaw and it was built to design, but to my way of thinking, something that doesn't work from the beginning
Thank you. I
is
thought I was
either
missing something.
a design flaw or
It just doesn't
or
work.
it wasn't built to design, one or the other, because if it was built to design and there's no design flaw, it should work.
I had a quick question. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Why are we spending money to replace gym with gymnasium? That may be an old question. But
Right. So again, what I'm going to say is I'm following the direction of the board, and we're changing the direction as we're sitting here. So I was supposed to inform you of the things that are going through. I cannot. There's no way I can answer all of the specific questions. There was a value engineering decision made on the gymnasium, and the intent was if we had the money to be able to do it correctly, then that was why.
Okay.
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 Okay. Thank you, Sharon.
Just checking.
But again, for me, it's I'll have to come up with we need to do a better system, because this was never set up for a question and answer, and there's no way in all of the trades that are going on that I can answer these specific questions. There's no way. I can tell you about gymnasium, and I'm aware of the rubber things in the ground, but there is tens of millions of dollars of construction going on, and there are changes that come along the way. So if we need to come up with a different way of reporting this, my role is to make sure that the contingency is protected and the contingency is safe and it's not going down rapidly, which is why I can bring forward the LED light thing. But if we want to do it differently, we can figure that out. That's not a problem.
Well, and I vaguely remember us setting it up this way and saying, just bring it and the things will go through, but I don't think that works for this board or this community, that sometimes we just need the answers. So maybe when this stuff comes forward, maybe we do need to have Wes here, so you're not put on the spot. I really don't think you're an expert in modify stadium misspelled field power boxes to improve water resistance. So you've become an expert on a lot of things out of your...
I don't know if I could ever get there.
And to help Dr. Nicholas out a little bit, I mean, I agree. I think we need some answers. We're not, so, but if the contract that we execute with a general contractor is, that if it's designed according to code and it's built according to design, but code doesn't solve a particular application, like in the case of the water underneath the foundation, that's why we wanted testing. We're like, wait a minute, we want to know what's wrong, because just having moisture coming up through the through the thing, if they treated the soil in accordance with the designs and in accordance with what they agreed to do, then it would be fine. And we're like, well, we're not willing to assume that, because that would put the onus on the district, and we did testing. So in cases where it's designed according to code and it's built according to design, but it's not functioning, then it's a gray area, and it's he said, she said, and it's a negotiation that you have.
And to be fair, Wes was willing to be here tonight, but this was an informational thing, so I don't want it to make it sound like Wes isn't available to answer these questions.
And I apologize for my part in this. I should have read this before this afternoon and got you these questions ahead of time so that you could contact Wes and have an answer for us tonight. But I didn't, so.
No, and that's okay, because I was, to be honest, I was concerned that at some point someone's going to ask a question. I was going to go, "Durr," and we're there already.
Let you off the hook this time. So you're going to get us an answer from Wes on number 406?
Yeah, so if 406, and what was the other one, David?
403.
403.
Anyway, I just question whether or not these should be warranty issues and whether they fall within the scope of the contract that this contingency was set for.
And to be clear, I wasn't saying that I know that these are or are not. I'm just saying there's more information is required than what we have at our disposal right now.
Yeah. So I want to get back to Trustee Clement's comment. You know, if something is designed to code, and how did you put it? I'm out of my wheelhouse. Designed to code.
Designed in accordance with code and the DSA approval, and it's built according to the design.
There was an error somewhere. So where was that error? I don't have the expertise to even make a suggestion.
But it may not be an error, it just may be.
The easiest example I can come up with is moisture underneath because if it was truly, and none of us believed it, right? When we were hearing that there was this canal of water underneath Altamont, none of us bought it. But if for a moment, we just grant that was true, which we now know that it wasn't, then it would be like, well, they did the borings, like they figured out the soil, they designed it in accordance with what they saw, they managed it, and they still had a problem. That would be one thing. Of course, a leaking pipe would be, something completely different.
Another
That wasn't
simple
according
example.
to design.
Another simple example is the door hinges and the wind. So they designed the door hinges. The door hinges were approved. They were put in correctly. Some of the door hinges get blown up, like that one right there, because of the wind, and that's on us. Even though somebody put it in, somebody designed it, somebody approved
That
it.
goes back to my exact point. It's always been with this windy in Mountain House.
But
Okay? Somebody did not anticipate
But if you get
air
the
pressure
heaviest,
in the building.
no, because sometimes it's you put the heaviest duty hinge in, and it is just the wind, and the cost falls on the district. If they put it in backwards, it would fall on the contractor, and if it was designed.
It's a design thing.
No, I get it, but there's only so much you can.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
I know.
there's
And
only
I'm
so
not
much.
a construction expert, so I don't know. I just think when this place was designed, it was windy when it was an alfalfa field.
True. That was just a simple example because we have to
I
deal
know,
with that.
I know.
But also know that in the construction meetings, you have the architect, the superintendent, the DMOT, the DSA representative, the junior guys that do things, the highest level people, and the supervisor. So everybody's in the room, and all these questions go back and forth and all that. So it's not like it's just passing the buck.
And we've seen time and time again, when something goes wrong, they all go like this. That's what frustrates me. I'm not blaming you for
No,
anything.
I get it. I'm just trying to
frustrating.
capture the picture of the work. And in the gray areas, it usually comes down to holding firm, or it depends on the situation. But if it's the wind and the hinges are heavy duty, it's hard to argue that.
Heavy duty enough. I don't know.
Which is why we need more information.
Yeah, thank you.
And sometimes just asking the question eventually gets an answer, as with the moisture in the floors at Altamont and
Correct.
the heaving concrete
And I got to say, we had to
at the
kind
high
of
school.
pummel Wes on that one.
a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Further discussion? First reading, updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report?
This is our ongoing process. This is the first read. If you have any questions, please feel free to bring them forward to staff, Dr. Gill in particular. But if not, we just wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to talk about one of them.
Yeah, I have a couple of little things. In AR 1230, page 218.
Dr. Gill, could you come to the...
Oh, you don't need to look this one up. It says that the request for authorization needs to include the signature of the principal. Maybe you do, because now I don't even remember what this was about. I just want confirmation that our principals are going to be trained on what to look for in these applications. I don't remember exactly what applications. Was this some kind of facility use? I can't toggle back and forth easily between the agenda. Page 218.
Community relations.
Thank you. Page 218, number 8. How do you scroll on this? Number 8, the signature of the supporting detail. I think this is facilities use, isn't it? Can you scroll back down?
Community, it says community relations.
Go up to the top so I can see what this is.
Organization.
School-connected organization, so in an there's an application. What I see at work, I just want us to be sure that if we're laying this responsibility on the principals, that we're gonna train them in what to look for in these applications, that's all.
An ASB kind of thing.
That's part of the facilities agreement that we have.
It looked like to me like an ASB type organization.
Yes, ASB is always, fundraisers are always first approved by the principals, then they come to us at the district
I
office.
just want some assurance that we're gonna train the principals in what to look for in these applications. That's what I'm asking. The application goes to the principal.
We will.
I've seen, and I today had a situation where a principal signed something, they didn't read it.
So if it's the fundraisers, and I didn't get a chance to look at all the details either right now. Let me grab it.
Organizations. How about if we read it?
So
We could read it.
what you're asking is that we make sure the principals can read.
So this
Quite
is,
as simple as that.
It says,
Correct.
let me read it.
Organizations request
got it.
authorization. It's an organization, a school-connected organization
correct.
requesting authorization to operate within the school district.
correct. This is something the principals already do, such as approving the fundraisers by ASB foundations and events the foundations do. So this is nothing new to them. Yeah.
But administrators change. So I just wanted some assurance that we're going to continue.
That is something.
Train our principals in this.
Definitely.
That's all.
Definitely.
That's all. There
In
wasn't
fact,
anything
Alvina's
wrong with it.
office does train them on some of those things, but for the approval portions, my office trains them.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Don't sit down.
No, I
Page
wouldn't.
299. Board policy 6164.2, there were a couple of options, and it didn't look like we had selected either one of them.
299,
299, yeah.
I'm going there.
So option 1 and option 2, yeah.
And it looked like we had not selected one yet. And I know how the stuff comes from CSBA with options, that
Correct.
we pick what's right for our district, but it,
We usually suggest one of them, that's what we typically do.
exactly. I'm actually advocating for option 1, which allows recruiters to have access to our students, because if we say no, that includes colleges. A lot of
Okay,
people
so-
want to block military, but you can block all or none, to my understanding. That's why I'm advocating that these organizations, universities, military, does have access to our students.
Correct.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
No, I think they should have access.
I agree with that, and that's what we do previously anyway, because they do have the access, yes.
So we need to-
in the final one, we'll make
And
sure
that
we
comes-
make that,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. Out of all those board policies, that's all I have, Dr. Gill. Good
Thank you.
job. Thank you for over 200 pages of board policies.
We have been doing this like for the past 4 or 5 months now. Literally every single thing is going to get updated before I leave.
No, it's a good job. I actually read all of it.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Further question or discussion by the board? Item D, governing board promotion and graduation attendance.
So we put the times down there, and we wanted to know, to make sure everyone gets, we don't have, sorry. Let's start that sentence with a full set of words. Which ones would you like to go to?
What is the 5:30/6 o'clock? I'm assuming that means it
Yeah.
hasn't been decided yet.
I'm guessing that a slideshow is in
Oh.
that time slot.
So like, Altamont doesn't have a slide, or was that just a typo?
Or maybe they just didn't.
Put it
maybe
in that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it
All right.
starts at 5.
So all of them are 5:30, well, okay,
They're
so
an
some
hour
yeah.
without the slideshow.
You got the email.
Yes. Trustee Balzerini sent me an email saying that he wasn't going to be here tonight, but he is requesting Wickland. Does anyone have an objection to him attending the Wickland graduation or promotion?
Wickland and Altamont are the only two that I haven't been at, so I would ask for Altamont, because I've been to the others, if no one else objects.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Do either of you have a druther?
In terms of the K through 8s?
Yes.
I don't have any kids in the K through 8s, so I'll do whatever.
I'd like to go to Bethany just because I used to teach there.
Okay. I always like to go to Lammersville just because I don't have any kids graduating there, but if,
But it's your home school.
yeah, if you would like to do Lammersville, I'm fine with that. I can do Cuesta, or you can do Cuesta, and I'll do.
Which ones have been taken? Sorry.
Altamont's taken, Bethany's taken, and Wickland is taken. So the only two K-8s are Lammersville and Cuesta.
Well, it's up to you. I don't care.
I'm good either
Okay,
way.
think it's a
I'm
done deal?
I'm okay going to Cuesta and letting you go to Lammersville.
All right.
I mean, Ginny teaches at Cuesta, so I know more kids there than anybody else, anywhere else.
Good. And that makes sense.
That was easy enough, and I'm assuming we're all going to try to make it to the high school
Oh, yeah.
graduation.
If I go to the high school this year, does that mean I might not get to go next year? Because
No,
I'm
we all
going next
go.
year.
And the high school's going to be outside, so just think about wind or not wind. Just
I prefer not wind.
Can we make that reservation?
Can we do a board resolution to that effect?
This year we might have to vote for no rain.
yes.
Yeah.
District Awards Assembly, May 17th.
That's the one where we try to get all the kids through in an hour and a half, but we have to be over here at 7. So we pulled it off last year, about the same amount of awards this year. So each time we do it, we get a little faster. But it'll be in the high school big gym. High school big.
5:30?
It's like a rolling one clap. You know, Bill Smith. So.
So we're going to do the Lem Vergara version of applause.
Correct.
Okay, so that's awards assembly. Okay, we did it last year.
Yeah.
Just have Ben plan it. He gets everything down to the minute.
Okay.
That's good.
I hate to be nitpicky, but could we have a date for the graduations?
It's the same day.
Yeah, but what day?
They're all the 26th.
May
Friday,
26th.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. It's just not on the paper, and I want to put it in my calendar. Thanks.
26th.
All right. Item F, first reading of the 2017-2018 Safe Schools Plan. Staff report?
This is our annual renewal of that plan. If you have any questions on either this or the wellness plan, Dr. Gill can answer them.
I'd like to say something. You knew I would. This document is comprehensive, well thought out, and an example of the highest level of professionalism. My only question is there a version of the district level crisis response team organization that with names in it? There are blanks in the plan, which makes perfect sense, but does that just get distributed to the principals?
So two answers to that. We purposely don't put the names in the document because if a principal is absent, assistant principal has to take over. If both of them are at a meeting, somebody else may have to take it over. At each of the school sites, they do have that. It's available in the office. They have, each of the school sites have emergency wheel card kind of thing. All this information is in there, and it gets changed every so often. Even with the students' names, we do that.
They do it at the sites.
At the
That makes
sites,
sense.
yes. Every single school site has that, and it gets updated on a quarterly basis and so on. And then second thing, any other questions? Because I have something else to add then afterwards.
The only piece that left me pausing was in a lockdown, and every school district on the planet is struggling with this. How long before the doors are absolutely locked, and if you're outside, you're stuck outside?
That's an excellent question because we have both fire department and sheriff department participates literally in every single meeting, in the safety committee meeting. And we have done a beautiful job of developing really good relationships with them. This question comes up literally every other month because we have very scheduled drills. And when the drills happen each of the school sites, they report on their drills, how their drills go, and then these kind of questions get asked, not only for lockdown, even for fire drill. Like, do we lock the doors or not? They have not given us the one answer. They said, you know what, depends on who you talk to, there's really no good answer. But that, though, I would like to invite everybody to a very special thing. We haven't done that before. We are doing with a partnership with the Sheriff Department. On May 10th at 1:45 at the high school, we will be doing an active shooter training presented by Sergeant Petrino and his staff. From 1:45 to 3:45, that's why we had to change the wellness meeting. So that's going to be happening in the cafeteria. I realized that's my fault, that was not on the calendar. And so this is the first time we're doing such a big training like that. All the high school staff is invited. K-8 administrators are invited. Depending on the administrators' feedback afterwards from K-8, we might actually extend it to K-8 teachers as well, and other staff members as well.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's it. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
An amazing plan. Very well put together.
Our
Very
team,
professional. Thank
our
you.
committees, wellness committee and safety committee members have done a beautiful job. And not only just putting the plan together, but also implementing the plan.
And on both of those, I know you did a lot of work, Dr. Gill, and we appreciate all your work on both of those plans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gill.
Mr. President, can I go back to one presentation real quick? So for the people in the community with this is about assessment and test results. So we're losing the scoreboard pointing, but there are other people that put out information about our district. There's U.S. News and Report, and there's schooldigger.com. So I just happened to be watching the Giants blow a lead and grabbed my iPad to do Google searches because I was frustrated. And I looked up U.S. News and Report, who just put out their report, and we don't qualify, our high school doesn't qualify yet because it doesn't have enough data in the system to be ranked. But I looked at schooldigger.com as a district, and our district this year went up 44 places and is currently sitting at the 50th ranked highest district in the state out of I don't know how many thousands of districts. So that's not the be-all, end-all of things, but that's another measure. We were top 100 in one measure. In School Digger, we're 150, and we're going in the right direction. So I thought I would share that as well.
Just need to get blue and green T-shirts.
Blue and green T-shirts, minus the suspension rates.
Yeah.
See, I didn't want to ask that question. I actually thought about that question. Well, then how do we know?
About schooldigger.com?
How do we know how we stack up, against, so thanks for answering the question that I never asked.
Calendar, as has been mentioned several times, the Wellness Committee's meeting is May 10th, and the
Wellness plan.
I don't think
we did the Safe Schools plan. We didn't
I
do
thought
the
we did
wellness
them
plan.
together.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Did you have any comments?
Did you have
on
any
the web-
questions? Did anyone have any questions on the wellness plan?
Yeah. Well, on page 391, or 2 of the plan, shouldn't you be listed as board president there? I actually read every word of these things. Yeah. Let me see, what is this? Oh, I had a question. On page 4 of the plan, 393 of our packet, in the staff development section, why would we be repeating the same staff development that was implemented last year? Or did we just never get to implement it, which happens? I get that.
The physical activity, that one?
Yeah.
The K3 teachers, we did not do it last year.
Okay, that makes sense.
We did it
then.
the year before. So this year has been like, this school year has been focused literally on implementing ELA and literally ELA.
No, I
Yeah,
totally
so,
get it. I had a
yeah.
feeling that was probably what happened. On page 5, 394 of our packet, the feedback from the staff was to have at least one relay recess per trimester, but only one relay recess is listed in the plan.
They're actually, what happens is we do actually three of them, and we do one of them in March and one in May. That's district-wide. The reason we don't do one in the fall, because each school does turkey trot, which is also like for them, it's similar kind of concept, which is in November type of window, something like that. So they, even though it says 3, technically we do 3.
So it's just another
Correct.
school-wide physical activity.
Correct. So they did not want to add one more because they're already doing it.
Sure.
And with that one, they actually fundraise quite a bit of money.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Moving on to the calendar, as mentioned, wellness meeting is May 10th. The time is in the agenda is incorrect. It will actually be at 3:45 in room 152 at the high school. Safety committee meeting on the 17th at 3:30. The district awards assembly that was discussed earlier at 5:30 on the 17th. The next regular board meeting at 7 o'clock on the 17th. The 19th, Friday the 19th at 2 p.m. is the end of the year staff barbecue celebration at the high school. And Wednesday the 24th is the next DAC meeting at 6:30, and I'm guessing it's here.
Yeah.
All right. In just a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session. We will discuss public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, consider approval of a long-term leave of absence request for certificated employee, conference with labor negotiators, conference with legal counsel, and conference with real property negotiators. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We're now adjourned to closed session. Thank you all for your attendance.
So I'll let you know.
Bing.
I would like to resume the board meeting at, too dark over there, I can't see the clock, 11:25. In closed session, item B, a motion was made to approve a leave of absence for certificated employee 123650 from 8/10/17 to 5/25/18. The board took action on the motion by trustee Goodrich and second by trustee Lampel to approve the leave of absence for employee 123650 from August 10th, 17 to May 25th, 18 by the following vote. 4 ayes, no nays, 1 absent, trustee Balzerini. We are now adjourned.